Welcome back to Hannity and Colmes. Joining us now, the author of Bankrupt, the Intellectual and Moral Bankruptcy of Today's Democratic Party, David Limbaugh. I think I know where you stand, based on the title. You know, you blame Democrats for being haters. You say that Democrats are rooting for America's defeat. You are blaming at least half the population of this country.
No.
And that is like the Blame America First crowd that I hear conservatives
at most 47%. You guys are a minority party.
Them all.
Ask James Carville in the last few pages of my book. He conceded you guys really are a minority party.
Not anymore.
And you say...
More people want to vote Democratic now.
Well, that's because you guys have been misrepresenting Bush and lying about...
Oh, it's not his fault for what's going on.
Absolutely not. Because things are going well in Iraq.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you, they're going well in Iraq.
How? How are they going well?
Well, relatively well. It takes a long time. You guys are impatient. Even some on the conservative side are impatient. We're talking about making a country free of terrorism. And that's a very hard thing to do.
I don't know how you can say things are going well in Iraq when we have people...
Infrastructure's better, the economy's better.
You've got...
and you guys ignore all the good news. I itemize it all in my book.
They say it's the center of terrorism. They brought all the terrorists into Iraq, they claim. It's the center of terrorism in the world. People are dying left and right. We've almost lost now more Americans than we have on 9/11. And you're telling me things are going well in Iraq.
I'm saying relatively well. We deposed Saddam, and we've now been training the troops in Iraq. The Democrats continue to complain about the fact that we haven't trained the troops fast enough.
And they had no plan for what to do after they deposed Saddam. They didn't have enough security forces. They didn't have enough troops. They didn't listen to their own generals on the ground like Shinseki, and they didn't have any plan for what to do after Saddam and his sons were gone.
You guys can't decide and haven't been able to decide whether we have too few troops or too many troops.
That's not true.
Yes, and from the very beginning that we attacked Iraq, you guys were naysayers. I've got about 25 bullet points in my book. We're in a quagmire. We're outrunning our supply lines.
There was own generals who said
he did listen. He listened to the main generals. He listened to the generals in charge.
Who did he listen to? When they said we need more troops, why didn't they listen?
No, Donald Rumsfeld has clearly said, and Bush has said, that if they had asked, the generals in command had asked for more troops, that he would have given them to them.
They did.
Well, do you think they're lying? Why would they make that up? No, that's not true.
One of the things I love about the book, and you're friends, you're my lawyer, so I want everybody to know, you say Saddam, you quote Hillary Clinton, Saddam had given aid, comfort, and sanctuary to terrorists, including al-Qaeda members. Now, but then you conclude the war, it's almost as if they're rooting Democrats, that is, for America's defeat and humiliating withdrawal from Iraq just for the deliciousness of discrediting the president.
Well, Sean, and this is a partial answer to Alan, too, every item of good news they have to challenge. When we had the successful elections in Iraq and 8.5 million voters, first January 2005 election, then some 11 million and 11.5 million in December. The Democrats regrouped and said, we've got to develop an opposition piece to this, as if it's bad for them when it's good for Iraq.
So for them to succeed, the economy has to go bad, this war has to go badly, and that's they'll never point out the good news? That
seems to be their perception. They never seem to acknowledge that when good things go on, when triumphs occur. We've got a country that we're transitioning from a brutal dictatorship to democracy. It doesn't happen overnight. It's happened faster, the rebuilding, than Japan and Germany post-World War II. You guys don't acknowledge that. I'm not saying things are seemingly great over there, but it's a lot better than you guys say. I said relatively well.
Let me ask you this. If you look at the polls and you look at some very smart people, the Republicans may lose the House. Is it because the Republicans have failed? Is it because this demonization by the Democrats? One of the things you do in the book, you lay out a lot of quotes. Why are the Republicans in trouble politically?
Well, for one thing, and this is part of the motivation for writing this book, I have to say, I resent what the Democratic leadership has done for the last 5 years, which is to call our commander-in-chief during the time of war a liar and announce to the world that he's a liar when he wasn't lying, both as to WMD and as to the connection between al-Qaeda and Saddam. Not 9/11.
He claimed he never made that connection.
He didn't make the connection. He did not make the 9/11 connection. He made the connection, and it's thoroughly documented in my book.
Because we're 63 days out of this election. You see, I think this book is a roadmap, because you're critical of Republicans in the book and where you think they failed.
Yes.
But you also point out through quotes and research.
Yes.
How the Democrats have really politicized everything involving war, but to one level they're effective. Why?
Yes. Well, because war is unpopular, and when somebody presents it as bad and is always taking the negative position and saying that when they're telling their constituency, which may be 48, 40%, that Bush is a liar every day, they're going to start to believe it.
Wait a minute. In essence, that's worked.
it's worked to a great extent. But Bush has not done a good enough job communicating his own position. He's doing a better job this week. He's done it sporadically. But the Democrats are relentless. They do it every day.
Let me get this. So then, if we have 63 days to go, what should the Republicans be saying and doing to get back?
I think they ought to be taking the offensive and doing exactly what Bush is doing now, what Tony's doing. I thought he made some great points today about how the Democrats are undermining the war on terror on the NSA, mischaracterizing it as domestic spying when it clearly involves international, undermining the data mining system, the telephonic communications, the financial tracking.
Can you name a Democrat who wants us to lose the war on terror?
I wouldn't put words in your mouth. I don't say that. I just say you do not support what President Bush is doing. You're undermining him during war.
No, we don't support his policies. That's not undermining.
But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you, you criticize him on foreign soil. Al Gore, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter relish the idea when they can get it and criticize him.
Dissent in a democracy.
It's what is called is outrageous.
Thomas Jefferson said the highest form of patriotism
it is disloyal.
Is dissent.
It is disloyal. I'm going to tell you, the Democrats need an agenda. They talk about they're gaining in the polls. 63 days. Eventually, they're going to have to come up with an agenda. They have no plan.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We check with Greta Van Susteren. She's standing